Welcome to EJH British Cars. So I thought I'd get started in on the refurbishing the seats. So actually the car only came with one seat, which is the passenger seat because it has the folding back. So I'm going to start with that one. And then we bought the pieces, including the stamping for the mainframe for the driver's seat, which is the it's the same two pieces, but they're welded together instead of having a pivot. So I've started a little bit. I just pulled the cover off of the one, but I'll show you how it looks. So let's go take a look. So this is my pile of parts. So to start, this this is obviously off the seat now. These two bottoms fold around the steel. This is the seat back. The horsehair, and I think they call this ticking, in place still. So when you buy a kit, these are sewn up like this. They slide down over here, and this back piece comes over and it wraps around. Then on this side, there was a plywood strip. It's a bunch of loose veneers that are all falling apart. So the back wraps around here, and then the front comes down, and it just gets one set of tacks to hold it in. And then the base had this strip of black vinyl that ran from about here all the way around to the other side. And these are the pivot bolts. And they're supposed to be welded in place, but this one was broken loose already. So I've saved it somewhere. But we'll weld that back in place, and we'll see if we can't pick up some new nuts for them so they're nice and shiny. So you can see this is pretty rusty, but we'll clean it up. And then you want to check really close that most of these, where these holes are, these are where the seat tracks bolt down. These are usually cracked. Same thing on the floors, and this from the seat moving back and forth. Talked to my friend Jim the other day when he did his seats, when he put them back in the car, he put a spacer under here, which was the height from the floor to the bottom of the seat, so that when this obviously pivots here and it tries to bend here, and it also touches right here, that's what these pads are for, that it would stop this edge from rolling down. And as you can see, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but this is concave right now and it should be flat. So anyway, I'm going to go clean this up and paint it up. And let's see how thick this stuff is. I may add some steel into this to make it a bit stronger, because that's the trouble even here in California, that the roofs leak, and particularly this car sat in the field for years, so it didn't even have a roof on it. This gets wet and it just stays wet. It's got the carpet underneath it and the springs on top, so it just rusts and rusts. So I'm not sure. I'll take a look at it, because it is kind of tempting just to go ahead and buy a new seat, but these things are not inexpensive. Anyway, I'll clean it up and make that decision. This stuff should really just be adhered into position. It's just cotton waste is what it is. As you can see, it's all just coming apart. But this is rubberized horsehair, and this is peeling off relatively easily. Of course, I'm not really going to try and keep it, so you can see where this was glued to this strip, and that's some extra padding at the edges. Uh, I bought new padding kits, so I'm not really too worried about it. You can see how much better shape this, where it stayed vertical and the rain didn't stay on it. This piece is actually pretty nice. There's the piece that came off. So there's the edges that fold over, and it's got a horseshoe section here. Even where it flaked off, it didn't rust. Did a little bit here, and this is where somebody's back would have been touching it and sweating. And you can see this bottom is reinforced. This is the plywood. On the other seat, it gets wooden strips on the bottom that go around here. You can kind of see an outline of where they were, but that'll let that top piece come down and fold over, tie in, and it will still have this piece on the bottom so the face of it can nail down. Now let me show you my trick. So just to try something different, I bought a piece of 3/16 by 1.25 inch, I think, clear pine finish board, right, so you use for like interior trim. And I've got it soaking. This is just a piece of pipe, and I got a plastic bag just put on the end, and I'm going to let it soak for a couple of days, and hopefully that'll make it pliant enough to push into that back. Oh, and these are the seat rails. So this kind of funky. So there's a track with a notch in it that gets this piece. These will go up through the seat, and the that curl piece there fits over this curl piece there. So that one goes there. You have one on the other side that does not have the notches in it, and it just has this piece, which again got the bolts in it, and they just, that bolts to the floor. This will go on there like that. It's kind of jigsaw puzzle-y, but it'll be all right. And there's the floor rails for the other side. What I'm going to have to do is, because there's one seat missing, I'm missing the seat side of the track, but I think I got another set over at the other house, so I'll have to go take a look, see if I can find them, and if not, you can, all this stuff is available now. It used to be when I first started playing with TRs that none of this stuff was available, so it's not expensive, but it's still available, so that's good. So I was curious last night, and I went online and checked, and for a new seat, by the time I got it here, it'd probably be at least $500 just for the bare tin. And you can't just buy the lower panel, much as that's probably all I need on a seat that has a removable back. So I decided I'd try and fix this one. So I took this piece of, this is 22 gauge sheet metal, which is not heavy enough for it to be by itself, but I think paired with what's left, I think it is. I would have liked to have gone a little heavier, but that's what my local store had, and I didn't feel like driving around town. So I've cut it so it's a snug fit, and as you can see, this edge is sitting on top. So if I push it in, it goes in and it's tight. And I drilled two 2-inch holes. These are the clips that the seat spring goes underneath. And then these are the marks where the holes are going to be for the lower, the seat mounts to come up and through. And I just put this piece of metal in the back and traced them through with a pen. And now I'm going to go drill these out. I'll do an 1/8, and then these are 1/4 inch holes. I may go one size bigger than that, maybe not, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, and then I'll show you what I've worked out to try to do for this, rather than just, one of the problems is that you can see that where the tracks mount, this seat is got these depressions in it, and the bolts in the runner isn't long enough to go through this metal, that gap, and this metal. Because if it was, I'd build a little spacer, and I wouldn't bother to do what I'm going to show you. But let's get this drilled first. So what I want to try and do is make a dimple in that steel plate. So I've got, it's a 1-inch freeze plug, shallow, directly underneath that 1/2 inch socket, which is enough clearance that it won't cut the metal, hopefully. And I just squared it up. I drew a couple of lines. I just did it by eye. And you kind of, this much metal, I was using a mirror to kind of line it up for the left to right as opposed to the fore and back. So let's give it a whirl. Here we go. Looks like it's pretty well centered. And that feels like it cut it. So we'll see. I can see it did cut it, and I think that's because I had the socket slightly off center. So I can fix that with a welder. It'll be a pain in the butt, but I can do that. So I'll try down a couple more and see how that goes. Well, I got all my dimples in. I went to a slightly smaller socket. It was maybe a 16th smaller, and that made a difference. And pushing slowly helped. So as long as it was centered and slow, it worked. A little bit faster, and I tore a couple, one or two more. And I tore a couple to start with. But that's not bad. I'm going to clean those up now. Just get the welder and close them up. Fortunately, most of the tears seem to be left to right, and the space on the holes, there's a lot of space left to right, so should mean they'll fit without having to grind them too much, because welding is fun, grinding is not. Anyway, get the welder out and get to work. So I decided that the bumps weren't quite enough, that the base of the bump was, about an eighth or so above the bottom of the existing holes. So I just welded the freeze plugs on to make up that extra space, and I'll make a nice solid mounting point too. So I just tacked them on because I don't really think they need to be any tighter than that, and the bolt's going to be holding it all down. So anyway, so I would be tempted. These are 1 inch. I would try an inch and an H. I think there's just enough room to squeeze in there, but you may want to check that out first, and then just by 8. The problem you're going to have is you have to press these even further. They're more likely to rip. And I have to admit that the ripping is usually an indication that the freeze plug and your dowel are slightly off center. And I suppose you could machine up a device so you'd be a lot more accurate in that. And if I was going to do more than one of these, I probably would think about that. But I only need to do one. So anyway, so that's it. So I'm going to fit this in now. And then if that works, I'll weld it in. And my thought is I'm going to wire weld all the way around the edge, but I'll spot weld out in the field here. And hopefully, because it's only in compression anyway, but I just want to make sure it doesn't oil can or anything like that. And I'm tempted to try it with a bit of weld-through primer on there. I'm not sure weld-through primer works so well on spot welding. It works fine on TIG welding or MIG welding. Anyway, so that's where we are. I'm going to try and fit this up now and see how it goes. Here it is. I went a little crazy with the spot welder, but I kept on getting the spots where it's so thin it was just burning through. So anyway, it was easy enough to put some extra spot welds in. When I did the perimeter, I'm going to clean that up a little bit. I was running out of gas over there, so it was a bit splattery. But I'll take the grinder and do that. It's getting late in the day, so I got enough for today. And I had a couple of rust holes I fixed here. I'll grind them flat. It's that side. It's amazing how nice this side was compared to the top. And I did use that weld-through primer. It says it's good for spot welds, resistant spot welds, and that's what this is. So it seems to have worked. Like I say, it's not really that critical as long as the edges are welded in and got my little spots. I still need to come from the back with a 1/4 inch drill through the sheet metal for the holes for the mounts, and I got to put the other one of these back on. I put it away somewhere safe. I don't know where that is right now, but it's just a 5/16 bolt, but it's got a big flat head like that. The worst comes to the worst, I'll just use a 5/16 bolt and turn the head down on the lathe a bit. But I gotta look for a little more. And if I can find it, I'll just spot weld it in. That's all it was in the first place, was spot welded. So they're going to make this video in two parts. This one for repairing the frame has been enough for one, and then we'll make a different video putting the covers on, how all that's done, and hopefully that piece of wood will have been soaking for a few days and it'll make that bend for the back. Um, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and we'll see you next time.